tower in Havana wouldn't answer the plane to give permission to land. So the pilot finally had to tell us, you know, we have 2 hours of fuel, so we'll get you informed. So this is the moment when the President Obama arrived. So I was there at the airport filming his arrival. Unfortunately, it was raining, so the ceremony was cut short. So he just got down and shook hands with some people, and then they went off. And by the time I got to the hotel, my mom was already waiting for me, so I got to say hello. We talked for about 4 hours, and I knew that I wouldn't have time to see her again. So we just took advantage of that little time, and we hugged, and I had to film myself doing a little piece about their journey getting there. And my mom was filming me doing my piece, and I was like, trying to hold it together. So, and then I just saw her just looking at the video over and over. And to me, that was quite emotional, because I'm the only one in my family that have accomplished something that big. And for her to see me going back with the American president, it was an amazing...
Coming or going with the American president.
Yes, yes. So this is the little thing that I put together for the trip. And this is the street where we were standing at the baseball game, and you know, we went to see some Cuban musicians. You know, the Capitol building, funny, is under repairs. That's the same time as the American Capitol is in repair. I thought that was kind of interesting. This is the hotel where we stayed. It's called Iberostar Parque Central. And this is about the moment where Obama walked on the stage to give the speech to the Cuban people. This is where we stayed. We couldn't afford to stay at the hotel because it was $600 a night.
$600.
And I said, you know what? I can't afford to stay there, so I just gonna call my brother. My brother found me this apartment 2 blocks from the hotel, and we stayed there. This is the private plane that took us there. And the day of the speech, they blocked all the roads. So there was no access for the Cuban people to get in there. This is the place where he gave the speech, which is the Gran Teatro de La Habana, named after Alicia Alonso, the prima ballerina of Cuba. Most of the people that were in there were governmental people, doctors, and people of, you know, some...
influence.
Yeah, influence. This theater is just gorgeous. This is my first time in it. And I was like over the moon being in that theater. I mean, the details are just amazing. So I was like, I gotta write a piece about this. So this is what I filmed. I took some pictures, and this is from the view from the top of the hotel, Iberostar Hotel. You can see the theater right across the street. It's just gorgeous, and I am glad that he got the opportunity to talk to the Cuban people, because he talked from the heart, you know, and say things in Spanish and not just plain Spanish, Cuban Spanish, which is a little different, you know, like que hola, that is very ghetto, you know, very street-like.
And so in a real sense, you had not only an opportunity to go with the president, but to see some of the things that, well, what do you think about in terms of, I think you mentioned the fact that they painted some of the buildings before his arrival, and they resurfaced the streets and et cetera. But overall, what do you think about Cuba in terms of what you saw at that time?
See, the buildings, this is one of the side street, and I'm doing a story about the people, how calm they are, but they are very excited that the president was going to be there, and this is not being fixed at all. This is one of those streets that are like really near the main street where Obama was going to drive through with the motorcade. But you know, there is a long ways to go for the Cuban government and for the country itself to being rebuilt, and it's going to take a lot of money. And
how did the people feel? I mean, how do you see the people in terms of their feelings and their emotions in terms of the president's trip there?
The moment that I saw that you could feel, I still get goosebumps. The emotion was when we were at the baseball game, because when Obama walked through that tunnel, all you feel was the trembling of the whole thing. It was full of Cuban people, and they were there waiting from 10 a.m. in the morning until he got there about almost 2 p.m. And that's when you felt the energy, and they were chanting and saying his name and moving the flag, and it was very, very exciting moment for the Cuban people to see that. And there was like, when I got out, there were people hanging over the top to see him leaving and to arrive. Yeah, yeah.
And so that was quite an experience with you and your family.
Yes.
Where was your mother at that time? Were the two of you together at all times? Or what?
No. I wasn't. I knew that I wasn't going to be able to see her again, so I just saw her the night we got there on the 19th, the night before. All the press got there the night before he arrived. So I got to the hotel about 8 p.m. and I got to hang out with my mom for 4 hours. That's it.
And so this was about your 5th time to Cuba since you first left Cuba as a child.
Yeah, about 5 times, yeah. Yeah.
And I would imagine that this was one that you will probably remember more than any trip that you've ever taken there. And so what you're doing now in terms of the images that we see, these are the images that you're using for your own television show. Is that not?
Yeah, this is what I filmed. All the coverage was for the Latino community, which my shows is for, you know, Entertainment Circle. And on my website, I created a special place, pages for the videos from Cuba. So anybody can go in there and see all my videos and
What's
my video
the site
blog.
number for that?
It's Entertainment Circle Network. It's circletv.com.
Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to take this second commercial break, and then we'll come back with 10 minutes. And we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break. Whatever, political, social, or whatever, you know, some of the old automobiles. I mean, I would imagine. What do you? What were your impression about that, and the general status that you saw in Cuba? I mean, you know, we've got 10 minutes for that. And so, anything that you'd like to talk about, feel free to do so. Okay, and then we'll be able to cut this out, and then we'll have. This will be an excellent show. I think that this is an excellent show, what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
Well, I think it's information, you know, to say that we had a chance to talk to one of the persons that went to Cuba with President Obama, you know, and then we've got it on tape. And I think
well, at least on that first clip that he put up, I have my credentials on, so you can see it.
You can see it on there.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, every time. We had a Secret Service guy assigned to us. For the White House press.
So well, why don't you? You know, this is 10 minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
And I don't have any information about it at all.
Okay.
And so what you do is to just inform me
for
the next 10 minutes of this last segment on what went on while you were in Cuba. Did you have a chance to go out to dinner, or did you go to a restaurant, or did you go to
no.
all confined?
Only one time I went to that bar where the musicians were playing, and we had a daiquiri. There
was no free movement anywhere you wanted to go.
Well, it was, but I just didn't have time. The time was really tight. So
okay, to Cuba with Obama. Is that the name of this? Okay, so good. We're getting ready for this final segment. Thank you, and welcome back to the final segment of the show for today. We talked to Ms. Shayla Paz, and she's given us some information about President Obama's trip to Cuba. And of course, Ms. Paz, let's see if we can close out this last segment by giving you an opportunity to talk about some of your activities and some of your impressions in terms of going to Cuba, to talk about the environment, to talk about some of the people, some of the things that you saw. As a matter of fact, why don't you say something about the automobiles that you saw while you were in Cuba?
Well, you know, the American cars are still running in Cuba, and the interesting thing was that I was taking pictures all the time of all the cars that I saw. And then that night, the second night we were there, my producer say, okay, I'm going to go to Floridita and have a daiquiri. And said, no, wait a minute, I'm going too. I want to have a daiquiri too. And we went, the musicians were playing, and then when we were walking along the street, there was just one car that stopped, and I said, do you mind if you can open the hood and let me see what kind of motor you have in there? He had a 1998 Nissan motor in it. And I was, yeah, and I was like, wow, and you still have that thing running? And say, yeah, I gotta keep it running. So he had it as a taxi. So everywhere you went, you see the cars all over the street.
Old model cars,
old models,
American
yes,
cars
yes.
with the